if your kids come consistently to Passage Kids, there's no way that they're not going to know who Jesus is and what he has done for each and every one of us. They're going to understand and know the gospel.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Passage Church P3D podcast. The 3Ds stand for Discover, Develop, and Demonstrate. And that's what we want to do. We want to discover, develop, and demonstrate the love of Christ in your everyday life. So this podcast, you will learn all kinds of things about our church, but not just about our church, about different things in your everyday Christian walk in life. So today with me, I have Miss Jen Walton.
Hello.
Jen is our Passage Kids director here at the church. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Jen. Who is Jen Walton?
Who is Jen Walton? Okay, well, let's see. I used to teach school before I started doing this. Before we had children, I taught for 11 years in the public school. And then whenever we had our first son, Noah, I, just had a desire to be at home more. So then I started doing in-home childcare. But then when we planted the church, you kind of, you just kind of fall into certain roles or things like that. Well, I kind of fell into the kind of heading up the kids things at the church, which kind of goes along with what my, what I have an education in and stuff like that. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're good at it.
Thanks.
So Matt and Jen have 2 children.
Yep.
And you guys planted the Passage Church.
Yes.
In 2009. So I brought Jen on the show today because we just got back from an amazing experience. Yeah. And we thought we'd kind of review that, do a little recap, and let you know about it. So it's called CentriKid.
Yep.
And it's a camp for elementary kids. And what were the grades?
It was completion of 2nd through 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And so the camp was for 5 days.
Yeah.
And it's at Ridgecrest Conference Center, which is near Asheville. It's super close to Asheville.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could.
I think it's about 45 minutes, maybe from Asheville.
No, it was like 25 minutes.
Oh, it's even closer.
Yeah, because I went to see family in Asheville for like a brief moment. Okay. And it was so quick. So it's right outside of Asheville. But anyway, so CentriKid, it's this camp. The kids go, and there's always a different theme each year.
Right. Yeah.
This year was the Discovery.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what camp is like. What did I miss about CentriKid? How can we better describe CentriKid?
I would say it's just a camp where the kids go and they get to experience worship. We did that twice a day. There was like morning worship to kind of get everybody pumped up for the day. Then they were divided up into groups with other churches that were there for like their grade. And then they would have Bible study and rec with their grade. They would have track times where they got to pick different things that they liked and enjoyed.
What kind of tracks were there? So I know my son Titus was in archery. Yeah. And only boys allowed, I think was what it was called. And they did like kind of like games like we would do on like Sunday mornings, actually, sometimes around here. So I was just kind of hanging out with the boys and stuff, and that was pretty cool. And my daughter did basketball and like outdoor games or something. Yeah. Or game day, that's what it was.
Okay.
What other tracks were there?
Let's see, there was creative dance. Did you say weird science? There was weird.
Oh yeah, weird science. Weird science. That one sounded really cool. So basically, during the day, a typical day would look like we got up, we went, we had quiet time in the mornings. Mm-hmm. And the kids would read their Bible. They'd work on their booklet.
That was right. Everybody was given a Discovery devotional booklet that had like a morning quiet time that everybody was supposed to do. Yep. That kind of went along with the Bible story for the day and then whatever the pastor was speaking on in the worship time.
Yep. So we'd have quiet time and then we'd go to breakfast and then we'd have the morning worship.
Yep.
And then there was like Bible time where the kids would break out and go with counselors. And then during that time, the adults that were there, we would have wasn't necessarily a sermon, but it was like our adult time that we hung out And the pastor that was there spoke to us about the daily events and how we should talk to the kids about what they were learning that day and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
I like that too, because in the past when I've gone, they didn't have that. That was something new. And so every morning we had our own worship, adult worship time. And like you said, the pastor spoke directly to us about things. And that was really nice to have that time.
Yeah. And so then the kids would come back. We had a little bit of downtime, not very much. It was about 15 minutes of downtime, really.
Right.
And then we would have lunch. And then after lunch, they do 2 tracks in the afternoon.
Right.
Then they come back from those tracks. And then there was a little bit of hang time in the afternoons, is what they call it.
Yeah.
Then dinner. And then more worship and games. Right. And then church time Bible study.
Right. Yeah.
And then at 10 o'clock, we would head back to the dorms. We're talking 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
We get these kids up at like 6:30 at the latest, because we got to be ready for quiet time at 7.
Right, yeah.
So 10 o'clock back at the dorms, I guess you could call them, and then try to get all the kids showered, ready for the next day.
Yeah.
And lights out at 10:30. So that is a typical day at CentriKid for 5 days.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. So the nighttime things were cool. They try to change it up every night. And all of the things that they did were really kind of pointing towards the theme. Tell me about OMC though. What is OMC?
So this was my first experience with that. I've never seen it, but I've heard about it. So OMC stands for Organized Mass Chaos. And
that it was, I don't know if it was even organized.
It was a little crazy.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, so they basically brought all the kids up into their teams.
OMC was by the age.
Oh, okay.
Because they were in their shirts.
That's true.
They were by the kids are split up into like bright color shirts, greens, blues, reds, yellows, and stuff like that. And so on OMC, we all meet up at the top of the mountain, and they have tasks that they have to complete.
Right.
And the tasks are things like go up to an adult leader and spray them in the face with shaving cream. Right. Or like pop a water balloon on somebody's head,
right,
like over them, like not on their face, but
right.
And so it got really, really messy.
Yeah, everybody's just running all over the place, interacting with each other. It was really fun.
Yeah, and there's just certain rules. You can't say no. That's like the main rule. So if a kid comes up to you and asks you a question or asks you to do something, you can't say no.
Right. And at the end of all of that, even though it was very chaotic, they wrapped it up with a devotion that kind of went along with it.
We talked about kind of the daily activities of what we did during CentriKid, and those are the fun things. I mean, that's what they're elementary school kids, and that's really fun. Talk to me a little bit about what you saw in the kids when it came time for Bible study.
The times that I was with them, obviously, the most was, and to hear them talk was when we did our nightly Bible study. And they had some interesting questions, I felt like, and comments. It was a good thing that some of the kids were there, so that hopefully they had walked away with a better understanding of who Jesus is and what he has done for each and every one of us. But it also gave us as the chaperones an opportunity to address these questions or misconceptions that they had about certain things in the Bible, because there were some things that were said that were not correct, that needed to be addressed, and we were able to talk to them about those things.
And they were super receptive to it. That was some of my favorite times at camp as well. I feel like that's where we made the most progress as far as reaching the kids with the gospel. And that was one of my favorite times, because they just had so many good questions.
They did.
And it was like, oh, I don't want this to be over.
Right.
But it's so late, and we got to get back and we got to get ready. So, a couple people might have had extra conversations outside of that time. Yeah, that was one of my favorite times. What about you? What were some of your favorite parts of camp?
I would probably say I'd really enjoyed the adult worship time, because I feel like sometimes on Sunday mornings I get caught up in the kids area, and I don't always get to make it in to be a part of, whether it's the music portion and I just get to hear the message, or maybe not even any of it, and just being able to get to be a part of that every single morning that was held. I really enjoyed being able to do that.
So a typical Sunday morning for somebody who serves in the capacity like Jen serves, or the worship team, we get here early. So like the worship team gets here at 7 o'clock in the morning. We start practicing, and then we're on stage and we try to worship along with everybody. But sometimes it's kind of like, all right, I just don't want to mess up right now. You know what I mean?
Your focus is different.
Yes, your focus is a little bit different. And especially for people who are on staff on Sunday mornings, you're thinking, all right, do we have toilet paper in the bathrooms?
Right,
do we have this?
right.
And you can't really just let go. And same thing with you and the kids. You're wondering, hey, do I have enough teachers this week?
Exactly.
How many kids are we going to get this week?
Right.
Wow, we've got 10 kids in this classroom and 1 kid in this classroom, and we need to,
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the worship time for me was really awesome as well, because we were just there.
Right.
You know what I mean? We were just there enjoying the moment. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And the band was killer.
Yeah, they were
the
great.
same band.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really, really cool, because when the kids were in there, they were playing some really fun, fast, upbeat songs.
Right.
And they played good songs, fast upbeat songs for us too, but they could also like tone it back and give a more like worshipful atmosphere.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Scarlet Fade. Yeah.
Scarlet Fade.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They were awesome.
Yeah, they were. They were really good.
So all summer long they've been playing. Like they're like the CentriKid band for Ridgecrest.
Right. Yeah, they were really good.
Speaking of the music, so when we left, I found a playlist on Spotify that was CentriKid 2021, and basically it's all the songs that we did, and there's a couple of them out there. There's one that's just all the worship songs, and then there's one that has like the dance music.
Right.
What I have learned about children, they love to dance.
I do too.
Just
ask your
too.
children on Sunday morning. I love the motion.
Look, we had a dance off, and I pulled out the sprinkler, and they just looked at me. They were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "This is hip." They were like, "No, it's not, dude." I was like, "Okay, well." It was for me to be out there trying to do it, but no. So the playlist though has dance music on there, and it's got it's even got the peach shake.
Oh yeah, peach shake. That's a good one.
What is a peach shake?
Well, Peach is I guess their mascot, and it's just a big peach, and he does all these crazy things, and so they came up with a dance for him to do.
We've been watching Peach videos since I got back from camp.
Yeah.
So that's CentriKid. We talked about what CentriKid looks like. How many kids did we take? We didn't mention that.
We took 17. We took 10 girls, 7 boys, and then we had 4 chaperones.
So transitioning from CentriKid to Sunday mornings here at the Passage Church, are there things that you think that you could bring back from CentriKid to bring to the Passage?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been thinking about some of the worship songs. I mean, obviously some of those probably were out there, and I just maybe wasn't aware of all of them, but I've already been like looking through and downloading so that we can incorporate that in our worship and game time. And I mean, I've just been thinking about some other maybe things to do as maybe gatherings that we could do with the kids that would maybe just bring them together more, because I think it's so important for the kids to build these relationships with other boys and girls who are trying to live their life for Christ, and just have that encouragement, and support. And so I think just giving them more opportunities like that, and then also just looking maybe at some things that maybe we could do to help support parents. Like I said, with some of the questions that we had, maybe we can do some things to better support the families at home, so that they can make sure that the kids understand the Bible and what the Bible says, and hopefully have just open communication, maybe more just talking.
Yeah.
I
feel like my kids have opened up a little bit more since they've come back from camp. Hopefully the kids that went are also feeling the same way. I know that I heard a story that one kid he came back and has wanted to talk to somebody about being baptized.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So other stuff that we could bring back, like you said, the music. And I went on the website and I actually found a lot of cool games. And they have OMC to do for like back to school. They've got OMC to do for Christmas, Easter. They've got all types of different ideas that we can bring back to Passage Kids and make it fun. Because like you said, we want our kids to have such a great time when they're here that they'll be open to hearing what we have to say.
Right.
And it's not just all fun and games. We want them to learn about Jesus while they're here.
Right. But sometimes it takes, playing a game or something to kind of draw them in or keep them coming, and build those relationships so that they are open to hearing what you have to say. Because sometimes they just have to know that you care, and maybe playing those games with them, and that they get to know you, and that they're more open to talking with you.
Tell me a little bit about the curriculum at the Passage.
So right before COVID, we purchased the Gospel Project.
Matt said we're not allowed to say before COVID.
Well, a while back.
A while back,
we purchased the Gospel Project. And it has been amazing because it's done by Lifeway, but it basically just walks through the Bible, and it has a connection of how it always brings every story back to the gospel. Because I know the curriculum we had before, that's what we struggled with, is that sometimes even I didn't know how to bring some of the stories back. Like they taught biblical stories and things like that, but it didn't always show you or tell you how to bring it back to Jesus. And the Gospel Project, every single lesson that we do, you do this lesson and then it brings it back to Jesus.
Because in the last one, I know, it was good, but like you said, sometimes it wasn't laid out step by step how to get back to Jesus. It was more, some of them were pretty moralistic.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Which we talked a lot about at camp about we aren't good so that God will love us.
Right. He loved us first.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, that's right. And talking to all the teachers that we currently have, they feel like it was a great choice to make. And, I think everybody was nervous at first. You get nervous when you have new curriculums and things like that.
Yeah, we completely revamped everything, so.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I feel like the most important thing, if your kids come consistently to Passage Kids, there's no way that they're not going to know who Jesus is and what he has done for each and every one of us. They're going to understand and know the gospel.
So you talked a little bit about teachers. Do we need teachers?
Yes, we do. We definitely need teachers. We need assistants. We need people who are willing to just love on children, in the baby area, just hold them and, kind of comfort them when they're upset, that kind of thing. So, yeah, we definitely could use people in whatever area that they feel that they are capable of serving. We can plug them in. We can always find a spot for them.
What's your ideal person to serve in Passage Kids?
We want people in there who, first and foremost, love Jesus and believe the gospel. But we also want people in there who love children. I think that's important because they can read you, they can tell whether you're excited to be there with them, and just being able to relate to them, that kind of thing.
Yeah. What I heard right there, or what I didn't hear, was any specific gender of person. We just need people that love Jesus. And what I have really been convicted about is our teachers here are great.
Absolutely.
They are amazing. We are so thankful for them.
Yes.
And what I would like to see more of, and what I think that where I'm headed, is that we need more men like dudes.
Yes.
We need some men to step up and to teach children, because it's our job to set the example, to facilitate, to be priest, prophet, provider for our families. and to just encourage the next generation, to teach the next generation, and to be that role model for kids to be in there. And we don't have very many guy teachers.
No, actually, at the moment we have one, and he is in the 3rd through 5th grade classroom. He leads. He's one of the teachers that leads that classroom. And he
is doing a fantastic job.
Yes, absolutely.
So we need more men to step up and say, you know what, we're going to help be leaders in Passage Kids to set examples for the kids that are in there.
Right.
Every episode, we have book recommendations.
Okay.
And music recommendations.
All right.
or I'm going to make you do both.
Okay.
The first book recommendation. Tell me what's a book that you would recommend for people to check out?
Our boys and I, we just finished, like our curriculum, it's the Gospel Project Bible. We just finished that because it's a good, I feel like, daily devotion. They're not super long, but it gives you a story. It walks through Genesis to Revelation. It gives you a story, gives you that connection back to the gospel, and gives you the important, question that you want to take away from and the answer of each one of those. And now we have moved on. So we've done WOW in the past year, and we've done it differently than what we did this past year. But we actually used Indescribable Devotions from the Louis Giglio book. And the boys and I have never actually walked through that book doing each one of the devotions. So that's actually what we're doing now. It's really cool because it takes science and the Bible and puts them together. And so it's really neat things to do. So that's what we're doing right now.
Nice. All right. Yeah. What about music?
So music, the stuff that I really like a lot, I like Planet Shakers. And I like them. I like Hillsong, Young and Free. They have you can look up stuff like Summit Kids, Hillsong Kids. There's all these different ones, but I think Passion and Elevation, like a lot of those.
Should we come up with a Spotify playlist of your favorite songs, my favorite songs? Get a Spotify Kids playlist going on for the Passage Church.
I think so. I think that'd be really neat. Because I know some of the kids, I've heard some of the parents say, "Hey, I like my kid sings the song. Where did you get that from?"
Yep.
So I think that would be really, really good.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The CentriKid playlist has been on repeat at my house all day, every day. I've heard those songs, and it's great. It's fun.
Right.
I love those songs. But my kids have been rocking that. So that's basically my music for the last week, at least. Well, 2 weeks, I guess. So.
Right.
But anyway, Jen, thank you so much for joining us today. If you are interested in serving Passage Kids in any capacity, it might not even be a teacher, but if you just want to figure out how you can get involved, how do people get a hold of you?
They can send me an email at Jenn, JENN, @thepassagechurch.com. And then that's probably the best way to do it.
Anything else you have to say today about our P3D podcast?
No, I enjoyed being here, and we had an amazing week at CentriKid, and I hope that if your children went this year, if they're going to be able to go again next year, that they will talk it up and maybe invite some other people, and that maybe it'll work out next year where some of the kids that weren't able to go this time, that they'll be able to go, because it was a really amazing time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the P3D podcast, and we will see you on the next episode.